Evelyn Maris had a routine. Wake up, shower, pick out a simple dress, and head to the corner cafe on Marnell Street. That was it, a coffee. A few minutes of quiet before the chaos of the day. She liked quiet. She liked normal. Except today, nothing was normal. The bell above the cafe door chimed as she entered. A rich, warm scent of roasted beans and sweet pastries filled the small room. The usual chatter of early morning patrons was there. Chatter, laughter, the occasional grumble over prices. Evelyn slid into her favorite seat by the window. Then she saw her, a woman sitting alone, sipping a steaming drink, fingers tapping lightly on the table. Her hair shimmered like molten silver in the morning light, eyes the color of new metal. She looked out of place. Evelyn's curiosity overpowered her usual reserve. "Mind if I join you?" Evelyn asked, pointing to the empty chair. The woman smiled faintly. "Only if you promise not to judge my choice of drink." "It's unusual," Evelyn chuckled. "I don't judge. Coffee's coffee. Technically, it's called Lurian Fireleaf. Not quite coffee, but close enough." The woman's lips curved almost secretively. "I'm Seline." "Evelyn." She offered her hand. Celine's grasp was firm, confident, yet oddly soothing. There was a spark of something behind her eyes, something that hummed beneath the surface, invisible but tangible. They talked about trivial things at first. Weather, the cafe, the morning rush. Evelyn felt an inexplicable pull, a warmth of connection she hadn't felt in years. She laughed, really laughed, and noticed that Seline laughed too. But it wasn't quite ordinary laughter. It carried a weight, a knowing that hinted at worlds beyond Evelyn's imagination. "You travel often?" Evelyn asked casually. Seline paused. A faint shadow crossed her face. "Yes, but not like you think. I see things others rarely glimpse. Vast things. Small choices, huge consequences. A drop in one pond can flood another entirely." Evelyn blinked. "You mean like politics?" Seline shook her head, eyes distant. "Not politics. Not governments. Not even wars. Something larger, galaxies." Evelyn laughed nervously. "Galaxies? You're joking." Celine's gaze was steady, calm. "I own them." Evelyn's hand froze mid-sip. "Excuse me?" "I own parts of the galaxy," Seline said, as casually as if she'd said she owned a bakery. "Half, actually." The words hit Evelyn like a meteor. Half the galaxy? What did that even mean? Planets, ships, civilizations, all hers? She must be joking, right? "Why are you telling me this?" Evelyn asked, her voice a whisper. Fear and fascination wrestled inside her. "Because," Seline said, leaning forward, "I think you're the first person I've met in centuries who wouldn't ask for my fleet or my wealth. You just wanted coffee." The pause stretched. Outside, a distant hum of engines sounded, far too low to be ordinary traffic. Evelyn's heart thumped in her chest. Something about Celine's tone. It was serious. Deadly serious. Before Evelyn could respond, a shadow passed the window. It moved fast, sleek, deliberate. She caught only a glimpse, a vessel unlike any Earth-made craft. A vessel that seemed to read her fear before it even existed. Celine's hand brushed over hers. "They'll be watching," she murmured. "Not for you, not yet. But the moment they suspect I've found a friend in a human, it will change everything." Evelyn's mind spun. Coffee. Just coffee. And somehow, in an ordinary cafe on an ordinary morning, she had stumbled into something immense. Something that could reshape the galaxy. Seline smiled faintly. "Drink your coffee, Evelyn. Enjoy the warmth. But remember, the galaxy isn't waiting for us to be ready. It's moving, with or without us." Evelyn stared at her cup, trembling. She could still feel the hum of Celine's presence, the weight of her words and the hint of danger lingering just outside the door. She wanted normal back. She wanted her quiet morning. But she knew deep down, the moment was gone, and she was about to follow Seline into a universe that would never, ever feel ordinary again. Evelyn couldn't stop thinking about what Seline had said. Half the galaxy, and yet she had invited Evelyn to sit at her table like an ordinary human being. The hum of the engines outside still echoed in her ears like a heartbeat she couldn't control. "Are you serious?" Evelyn asked again, almost hoping Seline would laugh it off. "I am," Seline said, her silver eyes calm. "But it isn't the number of planets I own that matters. It's the responsibility. And danger. Everything is watched. Everything is measured. And everything can vanish in a moment." Evelyn swallowed hard. "Vanish, you mean?" "People? Yes. Selene's voice was soft but precise. Civilizations, fleets, colonies. I don't take life lightly, but there are things out there. Things that don't care about life at all. A chill ran through Evelyn. The cafe, once cozy and comforting, suddenly felt fragile. Paper thin. Seline stood. Come with me, she said. Excuse me? To see. To understand. Evelyn's mind screamed caution, but curiosity, stubborn and human, overrode it. They stepped outside. The morning sun washed the street in gold, but it couldn't hide the sleek shadow waiting above. A ship, glimmering silver, angular, alien. Its engines pulsed softly, a living heartbeat. Step aboard, Seline said, and without waiting for Evelyn's decision, she floated upward toward the ship. Evelyn ran after her, legs trembling. Gravity seemed heavier than usual, or maybe it was fear. She reached the ramp just as Seline turned, expression gentle but firm. Once we cross this threshold, Seline said, you cannot unsee what you will see. The galaxy is not kind, but you'll see the human heart in ways you've never imagined. The ship's interior was warm, humming with a quiet energy that vibrated in Evelyn's chest. Holographic maps floated above a polished table, showing thousands of star systems blinking with tiny white and green lights. She gasped. You really own all of this? Evelyn whispered. Yes, Seline said. And yet it is fragile. One misstep, one wrong alliance, one overlooked threat. She gestured to a blinking red symbol on the map. And entire systems can fall. Humans, your species, are small but resilient. That is why I wanted you to come. You see, resilience is rare out here. Evelyn touched the hologram, her fingers hovering over a glowing system. It's beautiful, but terrifying, Seline nodded. And dangerous? Look there. She tapped a cluster of blinking red lights, the Harken Expanse. A sector I've been monitoring. Their fleets are growing. They see expansion as conquest. Every system you see is a potential war zone. Evelyn swallowed hard, heart pounding. And you just stop them? Sometimes, Seline said softly. Other times I watch. Observation is a weapon. Knowledge is a weapon. Timing is everything. They walked down a corridor, Evelyn's head spinning. Her eyes caught the subtle signs of life. Alien symbols etched on walls, the quiet purr of engines, glimpses of crew from other worlds working silently. Each being moved with purpose, aware yet restrained. Evelyn realized that Selene's influence didn't just command space, it commanded discipline, loyalty, and fear in the best sense of control. Why me? Evelyn asked. Her voice was trembling. I'm just me, a barista who barely leaves her street. Because, Seline said, stopping and placing her hand on Evelyn's shoulder. You see people, truly see them. Humans have a way of surviving that the galaxy forgets to respect. And there are decisions coming. Decisions that require seeing beyond fear, beyond power. You might be small, but your perspective is rare. Before Evelyn could respond, the ship shuddered. The lights flickered. A low rumble echoed through the hull. Selene's eyes narrowed. They know we're here, she whispered. Evelyn's stomach dropped. Who? Not who yet, Seline said, moving swiftly to a control panel. But someone powerful. Someone that even I respect and fear. Brace yourself. The walls of the ship shimmered as if the fabric of space itself were bending. Outside, a fleet appeared, black ships cutting through the void, engines screaming like wild predators. Evelyn's mind froze. She had never seen anything like it. Seline turned to her, expression calm. This is why humans fascinate me. You feel fear, but you still move forward. Watch. The ship accelerated, dodging and weaving through the fleet. Red energy pulses streaked past. Alarms rang, but Selene's hands moved with serene precision. Evelyn clung to the railing, awe and terror colliding in her chest. This, she whispered, this is war. No, Seline said softly. This is survival, and it's only the beginning. As the ship dove deeper into the darkness of space, Evelyn realized something chilling. She had no idea what she had just stepped into. Not just a galaxy of stars, not just a war, but a game of life and death far beyond anything humanity had ever known. And yet, a strange, stubborn spark of hope lit her chest. If humans could survive this, maybe they could survive anything. Evelyn's knees felt weak as she clung to the railing. The stars outside were streaks of light, but she couldn't take her eyes off the fleet pursuing them. Each ship seemed alive, predatory, almost sentient in its movement. Why are they after you? She asked, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engines. Selene's jaw tightened. Because I interfere with their expansion. Because I challenge their greed. Because I exist. Exist? Evelyn echoed. You mean, just because you're here? Yes, Selene's voice was firm. Presence is power in space. Some never forgive others for simply surviving. A warning beep sounded. The hull trembled. Outside, a smaller vessel broke off from the fleet, heading directly toward them. Evelyn's heart leapt into her throat. Boarders? She whispered. Maybe, Seline said, eyes flicking over the control panel. Or a scout. Either way, be ready. The ship shook again. Evelyn gripped the railing tighter. Her mind raced. She had dreamed of adventure, yes, but never like this. Never under the hum of engines that could slice through planets. Selene's calm was unnerving. She moved like water, precise, elegant. Her silver hair shimmered in the light of the control panel. Evelyn, she said quietly, I need you to watch and learn. Not for me, but for them. For who? The galaxy. The ones who will watch humanity now. The ones who might test us. You're small, but your choices are large. Before Evelyn could respond, the boarding vessel collided with their shields. Energy flares erupted across the viewport. Evelyn ducked instinctively. The sound of impact reverberated through her bones. Don't panic, Seline said. Her hands danced across the controls. A holographic screen appeared, projecting the alien vessel in 3 dimensions. Its shape was jagged, insect-like, and it bristled with weapons. They're not like humans, Evelyn said, her voice trembling. No, Seline said softly. They see the universe differently. Life is a resource. They respect strength. They despise hesitation. And they are patient. Unimaginably patient, a voice echoed through the ship's communication system. It was harsh, guttural, broken in pattern. Evelyn's stomach nodded. Yield, submit, or die. Seline didn't respond immediately. Instead, she studied the ship, her mind calculating possibilities Evelyn couldn't follow. And then she smiled. Small, cold. They don't understand humans yet, she said. But soon, they will. Evelyn's mind screamed. We could die. Why aren't you doing something? I am, Seline said. But death is not always the enemy. Observation is sometimes stronger. Wait and see. The vessel hesitated as if sensing the calm authority emanating from Seline. Then it retreated slightly, spinning slowly in the void, studying them as carefully as they studied it. Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine. They're intelligent, she whispered. They are, but they lack empathy. They do not understand hesitation, mercy, or moral choice. And that is why humanity matters. Evelyn's mind reeled. Half the galaxy at risk. Entire civilizations under threat. And here she was, a barista, being told that humans, her kind, were uniquely valuable in the grand scale of cosmic war. What do I do? She asked finally, voice cracking. See? Learn. Question. Humans survive because you care. Because you fight even when hopeless. That is why I brought you here. That is why I chose you. The ship jolted again. This time the fleet was retreating, vanishing into the blackness of space. Evelyn slumped, overwhelmed. You survived, she said weakly. No, Seline replied. We observed. And observation is the true weapon of survival. The galaxy is a mirror, Evelyn. It shows you who you are when everything else is stripped away. Evelyn sat on the floor, breathing hard. Her hands shook. She had never felt so small. And yet Seline's words sank into her like seeds. Humanity's resilience. It mattered. She had always thought it fragile, fleeting. But maybe, just maybe, it was something others envied. Something worth fighting for. Seline crouched beside her. You will see more. Aliens with no empathy. Empires built on fear. Entire systems ready to crumble. But you will also see courage, kindness, loyalty. Traits that can bend the impossible. That is why humans survive. Evelyn's voice was barely a whisper. And what if I fail? Then you will learn, Seline said simply. And that will be enough. Humans have a way of learning through failure that no species I know possesses. Your mistakes are as valuable as your victories. A moment of silence passed between them, filled only with the quiet hum of the engines. Then Evelyn realized something terrifying and exhilarating. She was no longer a bystander. She was part of a story that stretched across stars, and for the first time in her life she felt alive. And in that moment she understood what Seline had meant. She was small. But small could change everything. A new warning flashed on the holographic display. A fleet of unknown origin was approaching faster than anything they had encountered. Evelyn's heart leapt. Her ordinary life had ended. The galaxy was awake, and she was about to face its judgment. The new fleet came at them like a dark storm, glinting in the faint starlight. Evelyn's fingers dug into the railing as the ship shuddered. Each pulse of the enemy engines felt like a drumbeat of doom. "Who are they?" she demanded, her voice trembling. Seline's eyes narrowed, scanning the incoming vessels. The Calavar, merciless, efficient. They conquer, assimilate, or destroy. They've noticed me, and now they're curious about humanity. Curious, Evelyn echoed, panic rising. They sound dangerous. They are, Seline admitted. But curiosity is a weakness. They underestimate humans. That is our advantage. The ship jolted again as a cluster of Calavar vessels closed in. Red energy streaked past them, slicing through the void with deadly precision. Evelyn flinched. "Stay calm," Seline instructed. "Calmness is a weapon. Watch." Evelyn watched, terrified and fascinated, as Seline's fingers danced over the controls. Energy shields flared, thrusters twisted, and the ship moved with an elegance Evelyn had never imagined. Every decision was precise, calculated, a balance between offense and survival. "They're good," Evelyn said, awestruck. "Better than humans at war." "Experience," Seline replied. "We learn from every encounter, every misstep. That is how civilizations survive or die." A communication channel opened, the Calavar's distorted voice echoing. "Seline of Morin Sector, your presence is noted. Humanity is intriguing. We request parley." Seline's lips curved slightly. "Parley with them? Are you mad?" "They seek to test us," Seline explained. "But they cannot understand fear as humans do. That is why they sent the invitation. We must respond, carefully." Evelyn swallowed hard. The weight of Seline's words pressed on her. She had never imagined that diplomacy could be as dangerous as war. And yet, here it was. Alien fleets, millions of lives at stake, and the fate of humanity tangled in the balance. Seline activated a holographic projection, showing the Calavar warships in 3 dimensions. Evelyn studied the jagged vessels, noting the symbols etched into their hulls. They were unfamiliar, alien, yet structured, orderly. There was a cold intelligence to them, a kind of perfection. "They're brilliant," Evelyn said softly. "And terrifying." "They are," Seline agreed. "But brilliance without empathy is brittle. That is the flaw we will exploit." The ship's lights flickered. A warning beep pulsed sharply. "They're initiating a scan," Seline said. "We must respond with caution." Evelyn's heart raced. "What does that mean?" "It means," Seline said, voice firm, "they are measuring us, watching how we react. One wrong move, one hint of weakness, and it could be the last mistake humanity ever makes." The tension was almost unbearable. Evelyn felt her chest tighten, every nerve alert, every sense screaming. She had wanted coffee that morning. Instead, she was staring into the void of galactic war. Seline's hand brushed against hers. "Trust me," she said. "You will see. The galaxy is full of terror, yes, but also courage. Humans have a spark the Calavar cannot measure. That is why we exist." Evelyn nodded, though fear clawed at her. "What do we do?" Seline smiled faintly, almost mournfully. "We survive. And sometimes, survival demands sacrifice." The Calavar fleet paused, their vessels spinning in unison as if contemplating the humans aboard Seline's ship. Evelyn held her breath, watching, feeling the weight of countless lives on her shoulders. "Humans are fragile," the Calavar voice echoed, distorted and mechanical. "Yet they resist. Why?" "Because they care," Seline replied, calm but deadly. "They care when everything else has abandoned compassion. That is why humans endure." The Calavar vessels moved again, slower this time, circling like predators testing their prey. Evelyn's stomach twisted. This was no longer a game of fleets. It was a psychological war. Every choice, every hesitation could ripple across the galaxy. And then, Seline made a decision. The ship veered toward the nearest neutral system, broadcasting a human cultural signal. A song, a story, a single human heartbeat across the void. The Calavar paused. They didn't understand it. They couldn't measure it. And in that moment of incomprehension, Evelyn realized something. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology, wasn't fleet size, wasn't raw power. It was heart. Her chest swelled with a strange pride, a fire she hadn't felt before. She was just one human, yes, but humans had something the galaxy hadn't seen. Resilience, empathy, courage, and now, she felt it herself. The Calavar fleet slowly withdrew, retreating into the dark. Evelyn exhaled, trembling. Seline looked at her with a faint smile. See, humanity survives not because it is strong, but because it refuses to surrender entirely. Evelyn's mind spun. She had just witnessed the first dance of survival in the galactic arena, and she realized something terrifying and exhilarating. The galaxy had just noticed humanity. And now, nothing would ever be ordinary again. Evelyn had barely caught her breath when Seline led her to the command deck's observation bay. The stars stretched endlessly outside, unbroken and indifferent, yet filled with fleets and systems she could barely comprehend. "Why do you bring me here?" Evelyn asked. "Why not just fight your battles without me?" "Because," Seline said, voice calm, "humans make choices differently. You hesitate where others strike. You value life when others discard it. That perspective is rare. It may tip the balance in ways no technology can." Evelyn's stomach churned. The last fleet encounter had left her trembling yet exhilarated. She wasn't trained for war, and yet Seline treated her as if her understanding mattered. A holographic display flickered to life, showing multiple systems in turmoil. Red markers pulsed, signaling unrest. Evelyn squinted. These people, they're at war?" "Yes," Seline said softly. "And it isn't always a clear choice between right and wrong. You will see civilizations where no decision is perfect, and you will have to act." Evelyn swallowed hard. She had always thought morality was simple: help people, avoid harm. But in the galaxy, morality was a tangled web of consequences where saving one world might doom another. "Here," Seline said, pointing at a cluster of blinking lights, "the Tarcheon colonies. They are under siege by mercenaries hired by a rival system, hundreds of thousands at risk." Evelyn's chest tightened. "Can we save them?" Celine's gaze was distant. "Yes, but doing so could provoke other systems. Sometimes helping one is the same as threatening another. The galaxy notices every choice." Evelyn nodded slowly. Fear and responsibility clashed in her chest. Every decision carried weight she had never imagined. "Then what do we do?" she asked quietly. "We observe first," Seline said. "Then we intervene, but carefully. Every life is precious, but there is always a cost." The holographic map shifted, revealing the mercenary fleet. Sleek, dark ships armed with advanced weaponry were encroaching on the colonies. Evelyn felt her stomach twist. Thousands of lives, thousands of choices. "Do we fire?" she whispered. Seline shook her head. "Not yet. Observe. Understand the enemy's patterns. Humanity has survived because it adapts. Watch how they think, how they hesitate, how they make mistakes, then act decisively." Evelyn nodded, trembling. Her fingers hovered over the controls. For the first time, she realized that this was not a game, not a simulation. These were real lives, real consequences, and the galaxy had placed them inexplicably in her hands. A sudden alarm blared. One of the colonies was under direct attack. Evelyn's breath caught. Explosions flared in the holographic projection. Cities crumbling, populations scattering. "Now," Seline said, voice firm. "Decide." Evelyn froze. She could issue orders to deploy defensive systems, but doing so risked revealing their presence to rival fleets. She could stay hidden, preserving the ship, but countless innocents would die. Her mind spun. She had dreamed of adventure, of purpose beyond her quiet life. She had wanted ordinary mornings, coffee, peace, and now the weight of galaxies rested on her shoulders. She whispered, tears forming. "I can't." Celine's hand rested on hers. "You can, and you must. Humans survive because they act, even when terrified. Fear is not weakness, it is a signal that your choices matter. Trust yourself." Evelyn drew in a shaky breath. She pressed the command sequence. Energy shields activated over the colonies, deflecting the initial attack. Countermeasures launched, forcing the mercenaries to retreat. The projection shifted. The colonies were safe, and for now. Relief washed over her, but it was bitter. She had glimpsed the cost of action. Saving one world had forced her hand, exposed her presence, and now unseen eyes were watching. Celine's gaze met hers. "You did well," she said softly. "But remember, in this galaxy, every victory brings new challenges. Every life saved comes with a shadow. That is the reality of existence beyond your street." Beyond your cafe? Beyond Earth? Evelyn's mind raced. Ordinary humans, she realized, had survived this long because they didn't need to see the entire picture at once. They acted step by step, trusting in resilience, courage, and instinct. Do we keep going? She asked. Seline smiled faintly. Yes, there are others who will test humanity, and you will learn what it truly means to care across stars. As the ship moved through the void, Evelyn stared at the stars, trembling yet resolute. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unforgiving, and she, ordinary, fragile, human, had begun to understand her place in it. She had wanted coffee that morning. Instead, she had tasted responsibility, terror, and the strange, burning pride of being human. Somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered humanity would survive, and maybe, just maybe, it could thrive. Evelyn didn't sleep that night. She sat by the observation bay, staring at the endless black of space, her mind replaying the events of the Tarcheon colonies. Thousands of lives depended on decisions she barely understood. And yet, she had acted. She had saved them. And now the weight of the galaxy pressed closer. Seline entered quietly, her presence calm yet commanding. You did well, she said softly, but this is only the beginning. The Calavar fleet we evaded was just a probe. Larger forces are mobilizing, and they are watching humanity more closely than you realize. Evelyn's stomach tightened.
Watching.
Like predators? Yes, Seline said. And some are cleverer than the Calavar. They'll test loyalty, morality, even your courage. The galaxy thrives on conflict and deception. Be ready. A warning flashed on the control panel. New ships appeared on the edge of the system, sleek, black, angular. Different from the Calavar, more sinister. They're approaching fast, Seline said. They're not mercenaries or explorers. They are invaders, and they have studied the galaxy for centuries. Evelyn felt her throat tighten. What do? We prepare, Seline said. And you will lead a small human contingent. The galaxy needs to see humanity's resilience firsthand. Evelyn's heart skipped. Lead humans? Her species, fragile, untrained, vulnerable. And now she would command them? You can do it, Seline said. Trust what you learned today. Humanity survives by adapting, by caring, by refusing to surrender. That is our advantage. The next hours were a blur. Evelyn observed alien species boarding the ship, offering counsel, advice, and warnings. She listened carefully, learning to discern sincerity from deception, truth from manipulation. Every alliance carried risk. Every choice had consequences. Evelyn, Seline said, guiding her to a holographic map. We face a critical decision. One of our allies, unexpected, has betrayed us. Their fleet will rendezvous with the invaders. If we don't act, thousands of humans and Tarcheon colonies will fall. Evelyn froze. Betrayal, she had never imagined it. In her quiet, ordinary life, loyalty had been simple. Friends kept promises. Neighbors helped each other. Here, the galaxy had no such rules. Who? She asked, voice barely steady. Seline gestured to the map. A familiar emblem glowed in red. The Althar Coalition. Long-time allies now conspiring with the invaders. Evelyn's stomach turned. Why would they do that? Fear, Seline said quietly. Self-interest. Survival instincts twisted by ambition. That is how civilizations fall. Evelyn clenched her fists. Humans had survived hardship, scarcity, and disaster. But betrayal on a galactic scale? She swallowed hard, then nodded. We act, she said. Seline's eyes softened. Yes, and humanity will act with its strength. Compassion, courage, and unpredictability. The fleet moved into position. Evelyn issued the first commands. Evacuate colonies, reroute energy shields, coordinate human ships. Her voice trembled at first, then steadied. Every word mattered. Every order rippled across thousands of light years. The first clash came suddenly. Alien vessels surged, weapons firing in deadly arcs. Explosions lit the void, sending shockwaves through space. Evelyn's heart pounded, fear and determination warring inside her. Focus on civilians first, she ordered. Then counterattack, but carefully. Predict their patterns, exploit hesitation. Seline's hands danced over her own controls, guiding them with near superhuman precision. Evelyn watched, learning, understanding that leadership was not about power. It was about decision, observation, and courage under impossible pressure. Hours passed in a blur of combat. Ships fell, fleets scattered, and yet humanity endured. Evelyn's human contingent, small and vulnerable, fought with a mixture of instinct and heart that alien observers couldn't predict. They adapted, improvised, and survived. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the invaders withdrew. The Althar coalition ships had abandoned their betrayal mid-battle, retreating with dishonor. Evelyn exhaled, trembling. Thousands of lives were saved. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's resilience. Seline approached her quietly. "You see," she said softly, "humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because they refuse to surrender entirely. And when the galaxy doubts you, it underestimates your heart." Evelyn slumped against the railing, exhausted. Fear, pride, sorrow, and triumph swirled inside her. She had wanted coffee that morning. Instead, she had stared into betrayal, commanded fleets, and seen the fragile spark of humanity shine across stars. And for the first time, she understood. The galaxy was not only dangerous, it was alive. And humans, despite their smallness, were part of its pulse. Seline's hand brushed her shoulder. "Rest. We will face more challenges. The Calavar, the invaders, and others still watch. But humanity has been noticed, and that is a start." Evelyn closed her eyes, letting the exhaustion wash over her. She had survived. She had learned. And somehow, she felt ready, because humanity would survive and perhaps, just perhaps, it could even thrive. Evelyn stared at the holographic map. Its blinking stars now symbols of hope rather than just targets or threats. The galaxy stretched before her like an ocean, vast and endless, yet somehow small or tangible, because she had seen it, touched it, influenced it. "Do you feel it?" Seline asked softly, standing beside her. "The way the galaxy watches now?" Evelyn nodded. "It's alive. Every star, every fleet, every system, it's waiting for something." "Yes," Seline said, "waiting for humans to decide what they truly are. And now you will decide too." Evelyn's stomach twisted. She had led fleets, saved colonies, and confronted betrayal, but now, the choice was hers alone. A new threat loomed on the hologram. A convergence of Calavar remnants, rogue mercenaries, and unseen invaders. Their numbers dwarfed everything humanity had faced so far. Entire systems would fall if she failed. "Do we fight?" Evelyn whispered. "Not just fight," Seline said. "We decide who survives, who lives, and who thrives. The galaxy doesn't forgive hesitation, but it honors courage." Evelyn closed her eyes, drawing on the lessons of the past weeks. Fear, resilience, courage, and compassion. Humans had survived not by perfection, but by heart, by refusing to surrender entirely. Her fingers hovered over the controls. One option, direct combat, risk massive casualties, but possibly stop the fleets. Another, a diversion preserving most lives but leaving some colonies vulnerable. Every choice carried consequence. Every decision echoed across light years. She made her decision. "Deploy the diversion," she said, voice steady. "Evacuate the colonies that cannot be defended immediately. Focus on human and allied lives first. Then we confront them, but on our terms." Seline's eyes gleamed, approval shining in silver light. "Wise, humanity survives by valuing life and striking strategically. Watch and learn, Evelyn. This is the power of choice." The ship accelerated, weaving through space with deadly precision. Human ships and allied vessels followed her orders, their movements coordinated, adaptive, unpredictable. Enemy fleets surged forward, then paused, confused by the human tactics. Evelyn realized that against perfect machines and cold empires, humans' flaws, compassion, unpredictability, empathy, were strengths. For hours, the battle raged. Explosions lit the void like stars falling. Fleets clashed, screamed, and twisted in impossible choreography. Evelyn's hands ached, her mind raced, but she did not falter. Every decision, every command reflected humanity itself, fragile, daring, ingenious. Then came the final moment. The lead Calavar vessel, massive and glinting black, cut through the chaos, heading directly for the largest human convoy. Evelyn froze. One wrong move could annihilate thousands. "Trust the human spark," Seline whispered. Evelyn took a deep breath and acted. Using every lesson, every instinct, every ounce of courage, she directed the convoy in a maneuver no alien could anticipate. Human ships twisted around the Calavar, exploiting blind spots, turning what seemed like chaos into precision. The Calavar vessel faltered, then withdrew, flanked by their remaining ships. A ripple of hope pulsed across the galaxy. Humans had survived, unbroken, alive. Evelyn sank to the floor of the command deck, trembling, exhausted, exhilarated. Seline knelt beside her. "You see," she said. "Half the galaxy may be mine, but the spark of one human heart can influence it all. The universe honors courage, ingenuity, and compassion. Humanity has been noticed." Evelyn's eyes glistened with tears. I can't believe it. "I'm just me." "Exactly," Seline said, smiling. "And that is enough. Humanity's power is not in fleets or weapons. It is in resilience, in refusing to surrender entirely, in daring to act when the odds are unimaginable." Outside, stars shimmered, fleets regrouped, and colonies breathed again. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's spirit, its fragile yet unyielding heart. Evelyn realized something profound. She had wanted coffee that morning, a small comfort, a simple life. Instead, she had touched the infinite, shaped the course of civilizations, and discovered what it meant to be human in the grandest arena imaginable. Seline rose, extending her hand. "Come, we have more to do. The galaxy is vast and humans are still young, but they are ready, and you are ready too." Evelyn took her hand, rising slowly. The hum of the ship was no longer terrifying. It was a rhythm she understood. Fear, courage, hope, and determination intertwined into a song humanity had sung across millennia. The galaxy stretched endlessly, full of danger, mystery, and unimaginable possibilities. And Evelyn, ordinary once, was no longer ordinary. She was a witness, a participant, a spark. And in that moment she understood something that would stay with her forever. Humanity does not need to own stars to matter. Humanity matters because it dares to shine even in darkness, even against impossibility. The stars beckoned. The galaxy waited, and humanity had arrived.